Hi guys, welcome to the lecture on files in C. So we start this lecture by considering an example which illustrates the requirement for using what are called files. Consider a program to maintain the information about the students in a class. Suppose the program needs to maintain the given data like the roll number, name, and date of birth for the students in a class. This table shows an example input to such a program. And now, suppose you have a program which stores the data as, as an array of structures where the structure has the members, roll number, name, and date of birth. Suppose the user has already given the details of all the students in a class and the data is maintained by the program as an array of structures. Then the data will be lost when the program terminates its execution because the array gets memory allocation in the main memory of computer, which is a non-volatile storage whose content are lost or when the computer is switched off, or when you execute a C program, the moment the execution terminates, the main memory allocation is also taken away, and so whatever you store using variables or array are getting lost when your program terminates its execution. But this kind of a problem demands you to store the information in permanent storage, which enables a user to process the data or to see the data which is already given by she or he when the user executed the program for the first time. Or in other words, we need to store it in the permanent storage of the computer so that at any later point the program can access the stored data. And C allows what is called a data file to enable a programmer to store data permanently on a computer. Okay, so certain programs like the student management program requires the programmer to store data permanently on a computer. And to store data permanently, a programmer should use files in C. Let us start by looking at some example files in C. Here is the first example, which is a text file. If you have such a file in your computer, you can open that file or you can modify that file using a file processing application like OpenOffice word processor. Here is another example where the file content is the information about the students in a class. So we may have to write the data into such a file. And this is the third file, which is called unformatted file, and the data is not so readable, and we will discuss about this in detail towards the end of this course, this lecture. Let us start discussing the first operation that we are going to do on a file, and the operation is to read a sequence of characters through the keyboard and to store it in a file. So that is what we are trying to do. Consider this example function, which is to read characters from keyboard and to store it in a file. Don't worry about the lines in this program that we will discuss when we discuss the execution of this program. And an important statement here is this. And before I explain what this is, let us consider a program which wants to write data into its computer secondary storage. So the program wants to communicate with the storage, needs to write data to the storage, and later it needs to read it back. Okay, how does it is possible? In C, it is made possible by providing an in-between storage, which is again temporary, between the program and the storage, which is what is called a buffer. What is a buffer? Which is an intermediate storage, again in main memory, and the data, when it is communicated between a program and storage, is actually happening through this intermediate uh, unit. Actually, the program accesses the buffer. That means when a program wants to write something to the file, it actually writes it to the buffer. And similarly, when the program wants to read the content of a file, it actually the program reads from the buffer. And the communication between the buffer and the storage is automatic. The system automatically handles it. For example, if you're writing into a file, copying data from the buffer to the storage is automatic, which is managed by the system itself, and the program is writing to the buffer. So when a program wants to make use of files, the program should get access to a buffer, and that is made possible by providing a system defined structure in C, namely file. Okay, file is a structure which is defined in C and which actually represents a buffer. Okay, buffer is nothing but a variable of this structure which is already defined in C. And what are there in this structure? One member is an index to the next character in the buffer. You can view this buffer just like a single dimensional array. Okay, where array of characters. And so index means indexing to that sequence of characters. So the index starts with a 0. So this structure contains a member which represents the position of the index, whether it is to the 0th index or ith index. Okay. Then another member is representing the number of characters available in this buffer. The third one is a pointer to the beginning address of the buffer, just like the array address. Then another one is it tells you whether end of file is reached or not. So end of file is indicated by a member in this structure, and we will discuss more about end of file later. And also it contains members to represent what kind of access is possible on the file, whether you can write or you can only read. So that also is represented as members in this structure. Okay, you don't have to worry about the details of the structure file. The only thing that you want to remember to use a file is the file processing is made possible by a buffer, and the buffer is nothing but a variable of the system defined structure, namely file. Okay, so to process a file, what the programmer should do is the programmer should declare a pointer to this structure. Okay, now with this, let us try to understand what this program is doing. So it's going to be executed, and we have a secondary storage in our computer. And in this lecture, when we discuss execution of a program, The next statement to be executed will be shown in red color. Okay, let us start. So the next statement to be executed is this, and this is a file processing function provided by C, which is just to open a file. Okay, and actually what this function do is it creates a buffer and returns a pointer to it. You know that a buffer is nothing but a variable of this kind. Okay, and in the fopen function you have to give the file name. In this case I want to create a file with this name, file1.txt, and then I have to specify what kind of access I need. I need write access because I am going to create it, so I need write access. And so if you execute this function call, then actually a file is created and buffer is also established, and the address to the buffer is returned. So I now have address to the buffer in ptrf, and whenever I want to access that file, I can access it through ptrf. And the next statement is a printf statement, so it just prints that this shows you that the file this is a file created, and this is how the file is created. So it created a file, file1.txt, and the index is now to the 0th position. Now if you execute this printf statement, that text will be displayed. So enter a line of text. So now see what the next statement, which is a for loop, is doing. So you all know that the getChar function is used to read a character from the keyboard, isn't it? Yeah. So you are reading a character and storing it in the variable C. And you are also checking if the user has entered /n or user has entered the press the enter key, then you are coming out of the loop. If it is not the new line character, you are going in. So what you are doing in the loop, you are just printing the character to the file. That is what you are doing. This is a new function, put C, which is used to print a character to the file. So you have to pass the character and the file pointer, which is the pointer to the buffer, as argument. So whenever you want to use a function on the file, always the function pointer is an argument. Okay. Here in addition you have to pass the character which needs to be printed to the file. Okay, so if you execute this loop, what will happen is a sequence of characters will be read from the keyboard until the user presses the enter key, and the sequence of characters as such will be written onto the file. And suppose the user enters this is a sample text file, then the same sequence is getting stored in the file. Okay, that is what this program is doing. The only thing that is important now is fopen, which is a function to open a file, and if you are creating it, you have to say w. And putC is the function to write a character to the file. These are the only two functions that we have learned from this example. So file is closed, that means it is residing in the storage, and this file can be accessed at any later time, either by writing a C program to read the file or by using a file processing application like OpenOffice word processor. Okay. So the next example, here the purpose is to open the created file in read mode and read the content and display it on the screen. So we are going to see an example for this. So here is the function. Again, when we discuss the execution, you can see what all these statements are doing. So we know that now we have created a file, namely file1.txt. It is there in the memory, and this program is to read that file and display its content. So this program is going to be executed now. So the statement to be executed is this. Now note that you are using the fopen function to open the already created file for reading data, and that is why I said R. R stands for read only operation. So I am opening that file for reading its content. So if I execute, that file gets opened for this program, and this is what we have. And so the next statement to be executed is this printf. So it just prints that message on the screen. And now see, what is to be executed is this loop. So while one, so it's an infinite loop, and I have given a break statement inside. And see what this loop is doing. It uses a new function getC, which is a file processing function in C, to read a single character from the given file. So the file pointer must be passed as an argument, only one argument. Then the next character from the file will be returned. Next means wherever the file index is pointing to into the buffer, that character will be returned. In this case, originally it is to this is index 0, so T will be returned. Again, if you call getC, next character will be returned until it reaches this point, and after the last letter, which is E here, the system automatically adds a character here which is not visible to you, which is what is called the end of file character. So I am checking, after reading a character, I am checking whether I have reached the end of the file. This is the end of the file. If I have reached, then break. That means if I finish reading, break. Otherwise, what I do, I am just displaying the character on the screen. You all know that putchar is the function used to display a single character on the screen. So what this loop is doing is, until it finishes reading the file, it reads characters one by one and just displays it on the screen. See, yes, that is exactly what this loop is doing. And then it comes to the last statement of the function, which is the function to close the file. Okay, so in the previous example also we have seen this as clause. So after processing a file, you must have to close the file. Even though some C compiler automatically do it, and after the function, it is better if you can explicitly use the statement to close it. Okay. So file is closed, it's in the memory. So being finished the discussion on the basic operations on file, that is to read characters from the file and to print characters to the file, let us try to formalize the sequence of operations required to process a file. So in the storage, you may be having a file. So first thing, the first operation that you have to do is you open the file. Okay, you know that even if the file is non-existing, if you want to create a new file, fopen with W as the access permission will let you create a new file. So regardless of the operation, including creation, you have to first open the file. After opening the file, you can do any kind of processing on the file. So process the file. And to process a file, we will study various functions. We already have seen putC and getC. We will study an other set of functions also. So you process the file using the given set of functions, and finally you close the file. So this is the basic sequence of operations to process a file. Okay, first you open the file, then you process as you need, and finally you close it. Okay, so now we have seen three different functions to operate on file, and let us try to formalize the syntax of using these functions. First is fopen. and this is the syntax. And so what it do is it is assigning the return value to a pointer to the structure of this type. And here is the function which actually opens a file, establishes a buffer to it, and that buffer is actually a variable of this structure, and its address will be returned. Okay, and then is the file name. You have to tell which file you want to open. The name of the file must be a string. Then finally the access type. So two arguments are there. Access type, we will discuss access type after discussing these functions. So this is how you use fopen function. It returns a pointer to the buffer if it succeeds in opening the file for the requested access type. Suppose you requested write access on it, it returns the pointer if it succeeds in creating the file. Okay, suppose it fails, maybe there is no memory in the secondary storage to create a new file, then what it returns is null. So if it fails in opening the file with the requested access type, it returns what is called a null, which is a predefined constant in C. Okay, and it is very important to note that you must be careful when you are opening a file. And what is advised is the following. Whenever you open a file, immediately after that you check whether the returned value is null or not. If null, that means the file is not opened. So whenever you open, immediately after that you check whether you opened it or not. If you have not opened it, then what is returned is null. So you check for it, and then if it happened, if the file is not opened, then you print an appropriate message and you stop executing that function. Okay, and now another important thing that fopen is doing is it associates the file with a name. So a file is created, if you are giving the W as the access type, and the file is given this name. Okay, and if you are if you are opening an already existing file, then this file name tells which file you want to open. So actually fopen associates the file name with the pointer which it returns. So after the fopen, ptrf will represent this file. Okay, so these are the different access types. Read means you want to read, you want to open an existing file for read only operation. W means you want to create a new file for write only operation. Suppose your text, say file1.txt is already existing, and you said fopen file1.txt w, then the previous file will be deleted and a new file will be created. So if you say w, you are creating a new file. A means append. Append means you can write to the end of the file. Whatever is there will be retained as such, and you can add information to the end. Okay, and if a file is not, if the given file is not existent, then a new file will be created when you say append. Okay, R plus means it's for both read and write. Okay, W plus is again read and write, but the difference between these two is that when you say W plus, if the file is non-existent, it will be created. But in this case, the file must exist. Okay, and if a file exists, these two options are same. A plus means read and append. So you can read the file and you can also append. When you write onto it, it goes to the end, and you can also read it from the beginning. So now the other function that we have seen, which is putc, which is to print a character to the file, and this is how you do that. And putc is the name of the function to write a character, and the first argument is the character to be returned, and the second one is the file pointer. Always a function processing file takes file pointer as an argument. then the counterpart, which is to read a character from the file, and the syntax is this. So getC is the name of the function, and you are reading, so only the pointer to the file buffer is the argument. And this function returns the character which is read from the file. So now we have discussed basically how one can create a file, how can one write data into a file, and how can one read data from the file. So now we are going to see more functions to access files or to process files. So next is ftl, and we will discuss an example illustrating the use of this function, and thus we can see what this function is doing. And assume that you have a text file with this name and this content, and now see how this program part is executed. The program control comes to this statement, and what is it? It's actually a printf statement. So you are going to display something on the screen. What is displayed? Within this open parenthesis, a number to be displayed. When I say number, because I use %d, a decimal number to be displayed. And so, so naturally here I have to give the natural number, the decimal number that I have to display. Okay, that means ftl is returning a decimal number, actually, which is nothing but the index of the buffer, that is what index of the next character from the file. So initially the index start with 0. So what will be the index? The first character is t, its index is 0. So if you print this, 0 will be printed within parenthesis. And after that I do a number of operations in the loop. What I am doing? I am reading a character from the file. So I am reading t to the to C, and immediately after I read, I check whether I reached end of file or not. If I reached end of file, just break, finished. If I have not reached, I am coming to this and I am printing the character. So what do? Read t and print t. And after that, I have one more printout. What is it doing? Exactly this printout. So I am printing the position of the next character. So what will be that? This was 0, this is 1. Okay, at 0 I have t, at 1 I have h. So after the character t, I would like to print the position of the next character, that is the index of the next character within the open braces. So if you and I do it for all the characters. So if you do it on this input, this is what you are going to get. So 0 is the index of t, 1 is the index of h, 2 is the index of I, 3 is the index of s, 4 is the index of this blank space. Likewise it goes. Okay, so what is ftl? Ftl is returning the current position of the index in the file buffer. Yes. So let us try to formalize the syntax of ftl. The name of the function is ftl to return the file index, that is the position of the next character, and only one pointer one argument, which is the pointer to the file. Okay, so that is ftl. It tells you what is the next character or what is the position of the next character in the buffer, and the positions starts from 0 and it goes up. The first character is at 0, second character is at 1, likewise. So ftl returns the position of index position in the buffer. So now we have studied getC, putC, fopen, and ftl. Now the next function is rewind. In this case also we will discuss an example illustrating the use of rewind, and thus we can understand what rewind is doing. So here is an example. Again the same file, assume that it exists, and see how this part of code will be executed. For that, this is the most important part of this code. So because you know what is ftl, what this part is doing is checking whether I have reached the position 7 in the file. Where is position 7? 7 is this 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I am checking for 7. If I have already reached 7, I say rewind. And rewind means reposition the index to the beginning. That is rewind. Wherever the index is, reposition it to 0. That is it. So rewind means change the index to 0. That is rewind. Okay, so let us try what will happen when this function will be executed. So what happens is actually it reads a character until it reaches the end of file. End of file means break, and then it prints the character. That's it. It reads and prints. That's it. But there is a change when it comes to 7. It goes back to 0 again and prints again. So if you execute, what will happen is the loop is executed a number of times. Finally, it comes out through this path. So what is printed is this is this is a sample text file. So after this is because of this rewind, the file index is repositioned to the beginning and again it prints the whole file. Okay, I think the use of rewind is very clear with this simple example. It just repositions the file index to the beginning position, which is 0. Now formalize the syntax. It has this file name, function name rewind, and then you just pass the argument, which is the file buffer pointer. Okay, so now move on to the next function to process a file is what is called fseek. So you know ftl is just telling you what position is, what is the next position in the buffer. It's a number, and rewind will reposition the index to 0. Yes, and now is fseek. Fseek is taking more arguments. So let us see an example. What is it doing? Assume that there exists a file like this and it is open for you in the read mode. And here the important part of the code is this. So what this code is doing, it checks whether the position has reached 16 or not. Where is 16? Here is 16. So actually what I wanted to do is, I want to skip this part of the file. So I want to skip the positions 17, 18, 19, 20 and 21. Okay. So what should I do is, I can use fseek. I can say that from 16, just skip 5 positions. That is what I can say. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. From 16, skip 5 positions. That is what I can do with an fseek. From 16, this 16 is represented by a system-defined constant, seek cur. Seek, CUR, represent the current index position. Okay, the current index position is represented by this function, but there is a constant also representing the same thing. So it is seek, CUR. It's a system defined constant representing the current position. So I am saying if the current position is 16, then from the current position skip 5 positions. Okay. So if I execute, what will happen? I will print till this position, then I skip 5 and I will start printing from this. So what will be printed is this. So I executed a number of lines. When it comes to 16, using the fseek, I am just repositioning it to this and going back. So the next character will be printed is this place. Okay. So this is a sample file. So this part of the file is skipped. Okay, so what is fseek? Fseek. Fseek is the name of the function to reposition the file index n positions from the given reference position. The third argument must be the reference position. So this is the pointer to the file buffer. Next is the number of positions to be shifted, and the last one is the reference position, and you have to pass any one of these three system defined constant. Okay, these are the possible reference positions. This means from the beginning, this is actually 0. From the beginning position, how many you want to skip. And this means the current position, that is what we used in the previous example. And the last one means the last position in the file. Okay, so when you say last position here, naturally this must be negative. You can say that -2. Then from the last position, 2 position will be shifted to the left and the last 2 characters can be processed. Okay, so this can be a plus value or a minus value. Minus means go to the left, plus means go to the right. And this is the reference position, which must be one of these three constants. Okay, seek set means the beginning position, seek end means the last position, seek CUR means it is the current position of the index. Okay, so we have studied a number of file processing functions in C. The fopen function, which must be the first function to open a file in the required file access mode. Then the getC function to read characters, putC function to print character, ftel function to know the position of the file index, rewind to reposition the file index to the beginning, and fc to skip a portion of the file. And according to what you need, you have to pass appropriate arguments to that function. Okay, now we can see what is the append mode, how does it work. Again, consider an example function, a program, and we can see how the program executes and see what append mode is. So it comes to this statement where I am trying to open a file in the append mode. So I assume that there exists a file like this, and I have opened it in A mode, that is to append. Okay, so see what happens. Then next statement is a printf statement. It says enter a line of text that is getting displayed, and see what is done after that. It's just like creating a file. It reads a sequence of characters from the keyboard until the user presses the enter key, and it writes the read character into the file. Okay, suppose the user entered this, add this to the end of the file. So where is it getting written? After the last character of the existing file. Not that previously it was this until here. So it goes after it. So if you open a file in this mode, then the newly added characters are added to the end of the file, if a file exists. If there was no file, a new file will be created with this as the content. Okay. With this, we are moving on to formatted data files. So don't worry, this is the same file, but we are learning 2 more input and output functions which are more convenient if you want to say store information like data about students. Then the next 2 input functions will make things much easy for a programmer to manage. So don't worry about the formatted data file. The name is because of the use of formatted input and output statement. So we start with fprintf. We can try to understand what this function is doing by discussing an example. It's just like printf. The only difference is that printf prints the data on the screen, and fprintf prints the data on the file. That is the only difference. And the arguments are also very similar. One additional argument is required, which is the file pointer. Otherwise, it is same as printf. So don't worry. And to discuss the example and consider this structure, and this is to represent a student. If you recall, the student has to the system has to represent the roll number of the student, name of the student, and date of birth. And date of birth is declared as a variable of another structure, which is this, which has two components in it. And the first member is day, second is month, and the third one is year. The same example we had discussed in the last lecture. So this is what you have as a user-defined data type, and now you consider a program. Let us don't worry about the statements of this program. We will execute it line by line, and you can then see what it is doing. And here the purpose is to learn the fprintf function, and whatever else we discuss is what you already know. Let us try to see what is happening. So the function is invoked, and it comes to this statement. There is a declaration. For this declaration, when it compiles or when an instance is created, you know that this variable needs to be allocated memory. So what is this? This is a student variable. So you are getting a data structure like this created for your program. The student S has how many fields? 1, 2, 3 fields. 1, 2, this is the third field. And the third field itself is a structure which has got another 3 fields: day, month, and year. So you got a structure variable created. And next is fopen. So I am going to create a new file with name as file2.txt. So a new file is being created. And next is this printf statement. So it just prints that message on the screen. It asks you to enter the number of students in the class. Okay, for simplicity, let us keep the number of students as 2. So the value is read in n. So n has got 2 as the value. And the next statement is I equal to 0. The value of I becomes 0. Now next is 0 less than 2? Yes, it is. So the control comes to the next statement in the program. That is a function call. Okay, and this is a function that I defined to read the information about a student. The function is expected to get the address of this structure. So I am passing the address of this structure to this function. So can we jump into that function? Okay. So the control is coming to this function. So what it is getting is a pointer to this structure. So this is a pointer pointing to this structure. And from the previous lecture, you know that when I have a pointer to a structure, its fields or members can be accessed using the arrow operator. Okay. So what is it doing? It prints this message on the screen. What is it? Enter roll number, comma, name, comma, date of birth. That is the day, month, and year must be, there must be a hyphen in between these. Okay. And comma must be used to separate the different fields. Suppose you enter this 1, comma, AB Philip, comma, 24 hyphen 2 hyphen 2002. So what happened is I have read one number. What is the first number? 1. Into which field? Into the roll number field. So I am passing the address of roll number. So 1 is taken into the first field. And after that I have also read out this comma because I have used this comma here. You may refer to our lecture when we discussed the scanf statement. If you give any symbol within this double quotes, then that symbol will be read from the keyboard and that will be ignored. So comma is read and ignored. And after that, what I am trying to do, I am trying to read characters until I read a comma. So until this comma, it will be read and that will be stored in the next field. So AB Philip. You know that the comma will be replaced by the end of string character. And then I am using a scanf with 3% Ds separated by hyphen. That means the first number will be read, and then the next hyphen will be read and ignored. Likewise, it reads and stores these three values into the subfields of the DOV in the structure. Okay, so we have not discussed anything new in this function. This is what you already know. And if you missed anything, please look at it offline, and you can see what has happened. Okay, anyway, you have read the values or the information about a student, and now it is in a structure variable. And because you used pointer to modify the structure variable, the same values are accessible in the main function as well. So you are now returning to the main. Okay, so the red data is there because you have passed the address, and use pointer to read it and store it in this part of the memory itself. And next is write student to file, and in this function I am making use of the printf function. So what I am passing to that is not the address, I am just passing this structure as a copy to the function, not the address, and I am passing the file to which I have to write this file name. So can we jump to that function? Okay, so it comes to this function. So what is it doing is it just uses the fprintf function, and fprintf function is very easy to understand. It is exactly same as printf, except that it is printing to a file. So it just takes an additional argument, which is the first one, the pointer to the file buffer. Otherwise, it is same as the printf statement. So I am printing a decimal number followed by a comma and a space. So what is that decimal number? This roll number. So that will be printed. And the comma is printed, a space is also printed. And next I am printing the name and a comma. Okay, and then I am printing the date of birth as 24-2-2002 and enter key. Okay, so if I do this, it comes the file index comes to this position because of this enter key. Okay, so it prints the data of one student in the file. So previously we had used putc to print to the file character by character. Now fprintf can be used to print a group of characters. You can print a name, or you can print a number, or depending on what you want to print, you can use fprintf appropriately. The only difference between a printf and fprintf is that here you are writing to a file, and hence you have to pass the file buffer pointer as an argument. Okay, so this function has finished its execution, so it is going to return to the main function. So it's coming to this point, I is now 0, will be incremented. So I is 1, is 1 less than 1 less than 2, yes. It comes to read statement again. So it goes to the read function and reads the information about the next students. It finished it, and it goes back to the main. Then it again calls the write function to write the details of this student in the function, in the file, right? So it goes to that function and it writes this data, and it comes back to the main. I is incremented now to 2, and 2 is not less than 2. So the loop finishes its execution, and it comes to fclose statement. So the file will be closed. Okay, so that's it. So let us try to formalize what the data is not lost. You have to remember that the data is stored in the file. Okay, it's there. And if you formalize the printf statement, is like this. And the only additional thing when compared to a printf is you are passing the pointer to the file. Otherwise, fprintf and printf are same. Okay, this is the counter part. Similarly, you can use fscanf to read data from a file. So what we are going to do in this example is you are going to open the previously created file and you are going to read data from that file. Let us see how it goes. So it comes to this statement. So a student variable will be created. Yeah, you're getting it here. And now it's a file open. So there must be this file existing because you are saying that read only. So this file must be existing. We know that we just created that file. So if you execute this, that file will be opened. Yeah, this is the file that you created. Okay, and so it comes to the loop and it says read student from file. Okay, this is the function in which I have used scanf, fscanf. Okay, to that function I am passing the address of this variable and a pointer to the file because I want to read the content of this file and I want to store the data into this structure and I want to access that data from here, and that is why I pass the address of that structure. So let us jump on to that function. So what is it doing is it gets a pointer to the structure variable and a file pointer. It just uses fscanf. It is just the reverse of fprintf. So the first argument is the file pointer and I am reading a number and a comma. Comma is ignored and the number is assigned to the first field. So the first data, comma is ignored, one is assigned here. Then I am reading until a comma, I am reading characters to this field. Okay, and the comma is taken away because of this. And now what I do is I am first reading the first number and I am storing it in this field, and then I am reading off this hyphen and I am ignoring it because of this character. Similarly, I read the next number and I store it in this structure like this. Okay, it's not at all difficult. It's just scanf statement. Fscanf is because I am writing it off, sorry, I am reading it from a file rather than reading it from the keyboard. Okay, so fscanf and scanf, the difference is that scanf is reading from the standard input device keyboard and fscanf is used to read from the file. Otherwise, no difference. And the first argument is the pointer to the file. So it finished executing that function. It returns to the main function and the main function just prints this on the screen. Okay, so that's what it is doing. And then it checks whether the roll number has reached 2 or not. Now the roll number is 1, so it's not true, so it goes back and it reads the next data of next student. It goes to the function and it reads the data about the next student and it finished. It comes back to main, it prints the data of that student, and now when it comes to this statement, the roll number has already reached 2. So what will happen? The loop terminates and it comes to the last statement. Okay, so the function terminates, and let us try to formalize this. And here the only additional thing is this pointer to the file. So fscanf is used to read data from file, and scanf is used to read data from the standard input device, which is the keyboard. Okay, so fscanf and fprintf are very similar to scanf and printf, where the fscanf is used to read data from a file and fprintf is used to print data to a file. Okay, now we can see we know how to create a file, how to write data to a file, how to read a file, and now we can see how we can update the data in an existing file. Suppose you have a file like this and you want to modify it like this, and the modification is this, and the name of the first student, which is ABY Philip, and this Y should be replaced with I. Suppose I want to do this modification, then how will I do this? We can try to understand how can one do this through an example. So here is the example, the same structure. See how I do this. It comes to this statement. So I am getting a variable of the structure. And see, I am opening that existing file in read mode. So the file which is to be modified is getting opened in the read mode. And then I am creating a new file. See, that is interesting because I wanted to modify modify this file, but what I am trying to do is create a new file and then copy data from this file to that file. While copying, you do the required modification also. So that is the basic. Uh, that is basically what I am doing. So I open another file which is in the create mode. So I am creating a new file with file3.txt as name. And so next I am using a function to read data from this file. Okay, so if I do that, I will read this data about the first student into this structure. So I finished that. After that, I am checking what is the roll number of the current student. If the roll number is 1, I know that I should change this name to ABI Philip, right? So if it is roll number is 1, is that the case? Yes, it is the case. So it goes to the statement this. So it says the name field should be changed like this. So I am doing that. So the name is getting changed. So I have read the data, I have modified the data, and now I am writing it to the new file. Okay, so this is exactly the same function that we saw in the previous example. So it writes into this file. Then it checks whether I have already reached roll number 2. No, I have not reached this one. So I am going back. I am reading the data of the second student. And now it is not 1, roll number 1, it is roll number 2. I don't have to modify. So I'm going directly to the write function to write this data. Yeah, now done. I wanted to change, make a change in this file. What I did is I copied the data into a new file. And while copying, I have done the required modification also. Then what should I do is delete this file and rename this to file2.txt. So this is what is basically recommended when you want to update an existing file. And so if you try to picturize what we did, this is the file that we want to modify. We create what we did is we modified and created a new file. We modified the data, we read the file and copied it into a new file. While copying, we modified it also. And after that, delete this file and rename this to file2.txt. This is what we did. So we deleted this file. Okay, that we have not shown using program. Maybe using a file processing application like OpenOffice word processor, you can rename, or using a command in your operating system, you can rename. Okay. So if you recollect, what we did is to update an existing file, open the required file in read-only mode and a temporary file in write-only mode. That is the new file created, and then read data from the existing file, update as required, and store the modified data in the newly created file. And finally, you delete the existing file, and after that you rename the newly created file to the name of the original file. Okay. So we are moving on to the last part of this lecture, where we are going to study what are called unformatted files. Unformatted files are specific type of files provided in C just to make process or storing or reading of complex data easily in a C program. Okay, let us try to see what it is and then try to understand what are unformatted files. So basically, to process an unformatted file or to create and process, what C provides is a set of two basic functions. fwrite and freed. Let us try to understand what fwrite is doing by discussing an example program. This is the same structure definition and see how the program executes. So it comes to this statement, and for this statement, what is it? It is a declaration statement. It tries to declare an array capital S of two students. Okay, so an array is created. When an instance is created for this program, an array is created with two elements, S at 0, the first student, and S at 1, the second student. And then I am opening a file with W as the access type. That means I am going to create a new file, namely filex.txt. So a new file is created. And after that, by using the next two statement, I want to read the number of students. Okay, so assume that I'm giving 2 as input. So I got 2 as the value of n, and then I is declared as 0, defined as 0, and now 0 is less than 2. So I am coming to the first statement of the loop. What is it? It's exactly the same function to read the data of a student through keyboard. And if you remember previously, we had passed the address of a student. Here again, I am passing the address of a student, which is nothing but the address of the first element in this array, S of 0. So I am passing this address. So the data of the first student will be read into this position of the array. So if I if I finish that, I will get this first data stored in this element of the array, and after that I am incrementing I is coming to 1 is less than 2, I am going in again. So I am reading the information about the next student, and this time I am passing the address of S1, I is 1. Okay, so I will get the data stored in this element of the array, and now I plus plus will make I 2, and 2 is not less than 2, so it comes out. And see, this is the interesting statement and the only statement that we have to understand what is it doing. Now see, I have read the information about two students, and the student data is stored in an array of students. In general, it could be information about 66 students in your class. Okay, and fwrite is allowing me to write the entire array to the file. That is it. And the arguments are the address of the array and the number of bytes required to store each element of the array. You can use the size of operator to pass it, size of a student, and the number of elements in the array. Here only 2 elements, and then to which file I have to write. Okay, so this will write the whole array as a block of information, the whole array as a block of information to the file. So see, what is written is this, and this is a special function, and you cannot open this file and see its content using a file processing application like OpenOffice word processor. This is a special feature provided in C language to enable you to write the content of an entire array to a file. So it is considered as a block transfer, and so it is not readable unless you read it using fread function. Okay, the only way to read the content is use the counterpart of fwrite, which is the fread function. So here we learned about the fwrite function, which allows you to write an entire array or a group of data into the file at once. And the arguments are, this is the function name and the base address of the group data or the array, the size of each element in the array, the number of elements in the array, and file pointer. Okay, now let us see what fread is doing. Fread is just doing the opposite. It will read the block of data into an array. So you can pass the array name and you can ask the fread function to read n elements into the array. Okay, so here is the example. So what it is doing is it declared an array of two students, and then it is opening the previously created file, and this is the content, and then it just uses the fread function to read the content of this, or to read the data of two students into this array. Okay, other arguments are same. This is the size of each student, and this is the pointer. So if you read, you will get the data back into the array. Okay, so this is a shorthand way of writing the entire array uh, to a file. Okay, and these kind of files are called unformatted files. This content cannot be viewed by using a normal file processing application, but you have to have a C program specifically coded to read the content of that file. Okay, so this is the syntax that we have seen: the name of the function, the address of the array, the size of each element in the array, the number of elements to be read, and the pointer. And with that, we are finishing this lecture, and I have given two exercise problems here. And before that, just recollect the classification of files. Data files are classified into stream-oriented files and system-oriented files. Where stream-oriented files, what we have studied is only stream-oriented files, which is again classified into text files and unformatted files. Text files are those files that we operated with these functions, and unformatted files are those files that we operated with these. Okay, and system oriented files are specific to the operating system that we have not studied because it's out of scope as far as this course is concerned. And with that, I'm finishing this lecture, and I have given you two exercises. You can see it offline, and so that's all about this class. Looking forward to see the solutions for the exercise problems given.